guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee. In today's video, we're going to be doing this classic, very traditional Christmas makeup look. I think this look is perfect for any event you might be going to throughout the holiday season, whether it's like New Year's, a Christmas Eve party, Christmas brunch, whatever it is. I feel like this look is perfect. You can definitely switch it up and maybe do more of a nude look if you're wanting it to be more of a everyday wearable look, but I feel like the red lip is just perfect for the holidays. I also tried to make this tutorial as simple as possible for you guys. There's not too many like tricky techniques or anything. It's very like beginner friendly. So I hope you guys find it helpful and easy to follow along with. But if you would like to see how I get this classic makeup look, then keep on watching. So first you want to make sure your skin is nice and prepped, ready to go. So I always do my skincare first and then I finish with a sunscreen. I usually wait like 15 minutes before going in with my makeup after applying my sunscreen, just so it can like properly sit into the skin and so that it doesn't like affect my makeup. Then next I'm gonna go in with a primer. I don't always go in with a primer, like daily I don't use primer, but I figured I have the primer, I may as well use it. This one is from Huda Beauty, it's their Easy Blur Primer. This is a really nice primer. Smooths the skin, blurs the skin. Honestly, of all the primers I've tried, I feel like this one I have noticed the biggest difference. So I'm loving this one. If you prefer not using a primer, you can definitely skip this step. Like I said, I don't usually use a primer. So I'm just using this because I do have it. Go ahead and finish prepping your skin. And I usually wait like 1-ish minute before going in with my makeup after doing like my primer, just to let it sit on the skin, start doing what it's meant to do, smoothing, blurring, all that. Just kind of giving it time to work with my skin. So today I'm going to be also using from Huda Beauty their Easy Blur foundation. I've also been loving this foundation. So good, perfect for combination textured skin. I do have a video doing a full review wear test of this foundation, so if you do want to know more about it, definitely go check that out. But I have the shade Shortbread. I think this is a pretty perfect match, honestly, for my natural skin tone. And then I'm going to be blending it with Huda Beauty's foundation brush, another product I've been loving. I think it blends this foundation really nicely. I've actually not tried it with any other foundation. I've only used it with this one. I usually use my Real Technique sponge for applying complexion products, so I don't typically use a sponge, but I did get this one from work, so may as well use it. And I do really like how this applies. I think it really makes the foundation look smooth. It almost gives like a sponge-like finish to the foundation, which is the reason I like using a sponge. I feel like it smooths the skin better, but I feel like this also kind of gives the same smoothing look to the skin. Make sure blending it into your hairline as well, so that there's no like weird lines or contrasting color. I feel like my scalp is very pale, so I always try to make sure I'm blending my makeup close to my hairline. All right, foundation is done. So next I'm going in with concealer. So I have the Tarte Shape Tape. This is the concealer I use every single day. I think it has really nice coverage. It doesn't crease too much under my eyes compared to a lot of other concealers. I just love it. Honestly, it's the perfect concealer. So I have it in 2 shades here. I have 12N and 35N. So 12N basically suits my natural skin tone, and then 35N suits my like when I'm self-tanned, and also I like to use it to conceal spots as well. I think going a little bit darker helps to conceal blemishes a little better. So, and then I just kind of apply a little bit on the cheeks. I have a lot of like scarring on the cheeks here, so I just like to have a little bit of extra coverage there. Typically I don't go in with like too much foundation on my face, and I use the concealer more as coverage. I like to use the foundation more to just even things out, smooth the skin a little bit. And then for the face, I'm gonna use the same foundation brush to blend the concealer. I did this last time, like the first time I used this foundation, and I actually really liked how the brush blended the foundation and concealer together, so. And then to blend the under eyes, I'm using the House Labs concealer brush. Really like this brush as well. I like that it's like skinny. It's really like a good shape for fitting under the eyes. Just gonna go in with a little bit more concealer on my eyelid because I usually use it as my primer, but I didn't put quite enough. So I'm just gonna do a little bit. You can definitely use a primer, an eye primer if you prefer later on, but I think the Tarte Shape Tape works really, really nicely as a base for eyeshadow because it just does such a good job at like smoothing. It has good coverage, so this like the skin looks even, and yeah, I think it just works really, really nice. All right, so my foundation concealer is all blended out. Now I'm going to do some cream contour. So I'm gonna be using today the Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick. I have it in the shade Ganache. It's quite a dark shade. I really like the undertone of this one. That's why I have it so dark, but I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of this on the nose as well. And for blending, I'm using my e.l.f. Complexion Duo brush. I love this for blending bronzer and contour sticks. I think it blends really nicely. I don't really ever use this end. I feel like maybe it would work nice for like eyeshadow or maybe like contouring the nose, but I just use this side. I feel like it works good for me. Really like the undertone of this contour. It's like a very neutral, almost cool shade. All right, and then I always just go back in with whatever I use to blend my foundation and concealer and just kind of soften the contour a little bit. Just kind of makes it look a little more natural. Sometimes going with too much, it can look a little bit crazy. So just softening it a little bit. All right, that is blended. So now I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of liquid blush. I don't really want to have a bright blush today. I don't want the blush to be the focus of this look. It's more about the red lip, but I do like how this blush looks on the skin. I do think it looks quite natural. It's not too pigmented. It doesn't look too crazy. The Huda Beauty liquid blush, I believe the shade is called Cotton Candy. Yeah, so I think this is a really nice shade. It's like a, I guess like a warm bubblegum pink, but yeah, it just doesn't go too bright on my skin, which I like. I just think it gives a really nice, like, natural pinkiness to the skin, which is kind of what I want for this look. Don't want anything too orange or too bright. But you can, of course, use whatever like shade blush you like. Whatever suits your skin, honestly. Like blush, I feel like is so personal to everyone. So whatever is gonna suit your skin and just kind of look, I guess the most natural on your skin. All right, then we wanna set the face. So to set, I'm using my Huda Beauty loose setting powder. I have it in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. Really nice powder. I think it works really nice with the Huda Beauty foundation. I honestly only really use this powder when I'm using the Huda Beauty foundation. I just like how they look together, but I don't necessarily love this powder with other like foundations that I've used, so I like this duo. And I'm gonna use a little triangle powder puff here. This shape is really nice for getting under the eyes. You can use a real beauty blender, a Real Technique sponge, whatever you like, a brush if you like. I personally like using a puff or a sponge just because I feel like I can really like press the powder under the eyes and it properly sets it. For me, I feel like a brush doesn't quite put down enough product. I feel like every time I've used a brush to set with powder, it like, my under eyes end up creasing. I don't need too much of this powder because that foundation kind of sets itself down, so I don't feel like it's like gonna move around on my face. So use however much powder you usually like going in with. If you like just doing the under eyes, just do the under eyes, whatever you like. But I usually do like my T-zone, my chin, the under eyes, and then of course the eyelids to set down the concealer as well. All right, the face is set. So I'm gonna, before we start the eyes, I'm just gonna quickly do my eyebrows. I use the Sephora Collection retractable pencil. It's affordable, it does a good job, easy to use, and I have the shades Nutmeg Brown and Taupe. I use both of them to kind of get a more natural looking brow. Okay, the brows are done. Let me know if you ever actually want to see how I do my brows. I always just do it off camera because sometimes it takes me forever and I feel like no one really wants to sit there and watch me do my eyebrows for 10 minutes. But let me know if you ever do actually want to see how I do my brows. But anyways, brows are done. So we're gonna move on to the fun part, which is of course the eyes. So I think the eye look is very simple. It's a very like traditional, neutral sort of look. So very easy to do. You need minimal colors, like you can use like bronzer for this. I feel like the Tartelette in Bloom palette is a perfect palette for this. It's got all your like nudes and neutral colors, your browns. I think there's a little bit falling out there, but yeah, all your like nudes. Perfect, honestly, the perfect colors for this type of look. So first, I'm just gonna go in with a transition shade. So we're gonna use, it's called Smarty Pants. It's this one right here. It works really nicely as a transition shade. So I'm gonna go in with that one first. I'm using a big fluffy brush like this and just going all along the crease. And I kind of wing it out a little bit. You don't want to stop too early. It kind of makes the eye look a bit small. So kind of bring it out a little bit. Next, gonna go in with Jet Setter, which is just a little bit of a darker shade. Not too much, but just a little bit darker. We're gonna be building up layers to have it kind of blend in better together rather than having like sharp lines and stuff. This will just help it look more blended. And this, I'm just going along the crease, but then also focusing on the outer third of the eye, kind of like a V shape, I guess. I'm just gonna go back in with my fluffy brush and kind of blend those two together. Make sure there's no harsh lines or anything like that. And then we're gonna go in with a darker shade just to deepen up the outer third of the eye. So I'm going to go in with, I think, Activist, which is this like darker shade here. And so I'm using a fluffy brush and just don't need too much of this. The darker colors tend to be a little bit more pigmented. You can always add more if you need to, but they are harder to remove if you go in with too much. So just a little bit, and I'm just gonna place that right on the outer third of the eye, just kind of doing a little bit of a V shape, but smaller than what we did for the previous color. We wanna keep this color as close to the outside as possible. See, like I barely dipped my brush in and it's already like dark, so. And then again, going back in with that fluffy brush to blend everything together. All right, so that's like the main part of the eyes. That's a very traditional way of layering eyeshadow, going in the crease, deepening it up, darkening the outer third, very like traditional. But I do want to add a little bit of sparkle to the eyes. So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of, it's my Morphe Rose to Fame palette, I believe it's called. And I'm just gonna go in with this shade here. I think it's so pretty. It just like, it looks similar to what like Diamond Bomb from Fenty Beauty looks like, but I feel like Diamond Bomb's more of that like wet look. This is definitely more of like a glittery look, but it still kind of almost has that wet look to it. I really, really like it. I've been using it like almost every day just to add a little bit of sparkle on the eye. So I'm just gonna go in with that, and I'm just gonna use my finger to apply this. I'm just focusing it mostly on the inner third and then a little bit out into the center. Not too much though. I don't want this to be like a super sparkly look. I just want it to be a little subtle hint of glitter. Just like that. I don't know, you can probably barely see it, but Just very subtle. All right, next we're gonna go in and do a wing. So for my wing, I'm using the House Labs liquid eyeliner. Liquid eyeliner. I've used this once before. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of it. I feel like the brush is a little bit long for me and I just found it a little hard to control. I usually like liquid eyeliners like this, but I don't know. The first time I used it, I wasn't obsessed with it, but I figured I'd give it another try, see if I can kind of get it to work for me. Use any liquid eyeliner that you have, whether it's a pen, it's a dip-in brush, or a gel. I also really like using gels. I have the MAC gel eyeliner, which I really like using as well. But yeah, use whatever you have. So I like to start with the wing part first, just to kind of line up where everything else is gonna go. So I'm first gonna do just a line on the outer eye. I'm gonna try and match it on the other side. And on the other side. So I feel like doing that kind of helps you measure where the rest of the eyeliner is gonna go. So then I like to go from the inner corner, get as close to the lash line. You can go as thick as you like depending on your eye shape. I tend to not go too thick with my eyeliner. And so I kind of do the outline first and then we can go in and fill it in after. I feel like you do need to shake this one. It seems like it dries out very fast. I've literally only used it once and I feel like it's already dried out. All right, the wing is done. That took me forever and it definitely went a lot thicker than I intended, but I think once we put the lashes on, it'll kind of balance things out a little bit. I also never wear a winged eyeliner with black, so whenever I do, I feel like it looks like too much, but I think I'm just not used to it. But let's go ahead and apply some lashes. I'm gonna be using these ones from Ardell. It's their Wispies. I think these are really, really pretty. I love the wispy look. Use whatever lashes you have. Make sure you measure them as well. You always want to cut your lashes. For most people, they're gonna be too wide for the eye, unless you have really big eyes. But for most people, you want to cut them, and you always want to cut from the outside, not the inside. Because see how your lash kind of has a bit of a gradient on the inside? You don't want to cut that off, or if you do, it's not going to look as natural. So you always want to cut from the outside. And to measure, you just want to grab some tweezers and just place it on your lash line, and you can see how much you need to cut off. And you don't want to cut it too short, but you just want it to be short enough that it's not going to be stabbing you on the inner corner, and you can actually get it to fit along your lash line. Don't need to cut too much. And for glue, I'm going to be using the House of Lashes glue. I have it in the clear one. They do have a black one as well. If you prefer black, I prefer the clear. I mean, I feel like for this look, you could get away with using the black one because we have a black eyeliner, but just prefer to have it clear. Running it all along the band. The thing I like about this glue as well, it dries pretty quick, so I don't have to wait too long for it to dry down before placing it on my lash. Just wait maybe 30 seconds, I feel like is enough. You have a different glue, just kind of when the glue starts to get tacky is when you want to stick it to your eye or eyelashes. All right, so you're just gonna place it right on top, not like that. And you want to, I like to place it in the middle first and then go to the outside and line it up, pull it as far out as you need, and then go to the center and hold that down in the center so that it's not going to lift off. You can use your tweezers or your fingers to just press them in. Press it into your lash line. I just realized I like stopped talking halfway through my sentence. So it's nice because we have our thick black eyeliner. You can kind of get away with it not being perfectly on the lash line, but just for practice, I want to make sure that it is right on the lash line. Like I said, just using your tweezers or your fingers to press your lashes and the false lashes together. So just help them like kind of merge into each other. Okay, then we want to wait for that to dry down, and we're going to go back in with our eyeliner once it's all dry and neaten that up a little bit, because sometimes the eyeliner starts to lift and you might end up with some gaps. So we will fix that. Like what a difference that makes to your eyes, especially with the eyeliner. Like here it looks a little bit too much, but once you put the lashes on, it kind of like balances it out a little bit. We'll be going in with some mascara as well, just because you didn't have to do that, but my natural eyelashes are blonde, so you can kind of see them if I don't have mascara on. If you have dark eyelashes, you probably don't need to do that, but I do. All right, both lashes are on. I'm just gonna finish off the rest of the eyes before going in with mascara, just while they dry. So I'm gonna go back in with my Tarte palette, and we're gonna use that lighter transition shade again. And we're going right on the lower lash line. I like to run this about 4/4 of the eye, so not all the way in to the inner corner. Same on the other side. And then going in with that slightly darker shade that we used, and focusing that on like the, I guess, outer half. So similar to the top, how it's like the first color you do all the way in the crease, the second one is a little bit less and more on the outside, and then the darker one is mostly on the outside. You do this kind of the same with the lower lash line. This will make sure they kind of matches the top. And then that darker shade, we're just gonna do a tiny bit. Not need too much of that. I try so hard not to pull my faces when I'm filming, but it's very hard. I feel like you guys get it. You guys probably do the same. There we go. Okay, so first we want to just fix up that eyeliner. So I'm just gonna go back in with the same one. You don't need to do it the whole way. Just kind of fix, go in wherever you've kind of removed the eyeliner from the lashes. It's still pretty good. Just need a little bit. I also feel like this eyeliner is a little thicker than this side, so I'm gonna go in with a little more on this side. Then going in with mascara, so I have the Maybelline The Rocket Express. This is my all-time favorite mascara. I will forever use this one. And I'm just applying a little, just making sure I'm getting like my natural lashes, so focusing it like as close to the lash line as possible. And then going in with a little bit on the lower lash line as well. Okay, there we go. I think the eyes are done. So I'm gonna go in with some, I'm gonna finish the rest of the face. So I'm going in with a powder bronzer. This one's from LYS. It's the shade Harmony. It's one of their like medium tone shades. So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of this. And I'm basically just going where I already put the cream contour, just like right on top. This will just kind of help set the cream contour, but also bring it back to life. Since we did use like loose setting powder and stuff, it kind of softens it a little bit. So just kind of bringing it back. Then I just want to go in with a little bit of blush. So I've been loving from my Danessa Myricks Groundworks palette, this one here. I've been loving going in with this shade. It's like a very like wearable, everyday sort of natural blush. And what I love about these is you can just pop them out of the pan so that when I'm like dipping my brush in, it's not like getting all the other colors. So I'm going in with this one here. And I'm just gonna use a fluffy brush. I prefer using a big fluffy brush for my blush. I find that every time I use a brush that's like either like an angled one or just like a smaller one, my blush looks blotchy. So I don't know, I guess I just prefer a bigger fluffy brush. I just love how my blush looks when I have a bigger brush. I like to put a little on the nose. We're not going in with too much though, because again, the blush isn't like the main focus of this. We just want it to be very, very like natural, everyday sort of look. So I think I will leave it at that. That's good for blush. And then we're of course going in with highlights. So today I'm gonna use my MAC Double Gleam Extra Dimension Skin Finish. This is a really pretty highlight. It's a very like natural highlight, but still super glowy. It's just kind of perfect for when you want that like natural glow to the skin, but I love it. See, I don't know if you can really tell, but just love how natural it looks. It's not like glittery. Like some highlights I feel like are very shimmery. It just gives it like a very natural glow. And then I'm gonna do a little bit under the brow. I like to highlight the brow bone. And then the inner corner of the eye as well. And this will help to brighten the eye. Open the eye up a little bit. Okay, then last but not least is our lips. So we're doing that nice bold red lip today. So the two products I'm gonna be using for that, first I have my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Red Carpet Red. I feel like this is like the perfect red shade. And then for lipstick, we're gonna go in, this is from Give, it's the color Original Recipe. Very matte lipstick. My favorite thing about this is definitely the shade. I don't wear it a whole lot just because it is kind of dries out my lips and can get a little bit uncomfortable just because it is very matte. But I like it for every now and again, for special occasions. I feel like it's perfect, and it's like the perfect red color. I love the undertone of it. So first I'm just gonna line my lips. And I like to fill in the whole lips as well with my liner. I just feel like it helps the lipstick last a little bit longer, but it also helps them kind of blend into each other better. Okay, that is it for liner. Then I'm going in with my lipstick. And then I always go back in with my lip liner after, just to neaten things up a little bit. It's such a bold lip. Definitely not if you're looking for an everyday wear. Although you could switch this up and do like a nude lip to make it more of a everyday glam, especially if maybe it's for a daytime event. You can definitely do more of a nude lip. This is definitely a bold nighttime lip. All right, then we of course want to finish it off with a nice long-lasting setting spray. So I have the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Love this one. I also really like Urban Decay's All Nighter, really nice setting spray. And then another favorite is, what's it called? Benefit's Professional Setting Spray. Love that. And then make sure you just wait for that to dry down before you touch your face or anything. Okay guys, so here is the finished makeup look. Like I said, you can definitely wear more of a nude lip with this if you want it to be more of a daytime wearable look, but I do think the red lipstick is perfect for Christmas. Even for New Year's, I think this is perfect for if you're going for a night out on New Year's. I absolutely love this look. I'll definitely be wearing it on Christmas, and I think it's quite a simple look to do. I hope you found this tutorial easy enough to follow along with, and I hope it's helpful for you guys. But as always, thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!